the defensive coaching specialist known as Stephanie White, well, she shut down the New York Liberty to the tune of just under 100 damn points tonight, as the Indiana Fever without Caitlin Clark got completely.
That was an ugly game. That was a very ugly game. But what did you expect? The second night of a back-to-back, Caitlin Clark's not playing. Caitlin Clark's the entire motor of this team. Did you think they were going to beat the New York Liberty? I didn't expect them to win that game. Now, there have been times where I've went into games where I've expected the Indiana Fever to lose, and they've won. Like the Lynx game, when the Indiana Fever came out and beat them with no Caitlin Clark for the Commissioner's Cup. I was surprised. I didn't think it was going to happen. It happened. Shout out to the Fever. But this is what you should have expected. You should have expected them to get whooped, and that was a disgusting.
The Indiana Fever team got beaten really badly by the New York Liberty team. The score was 98-77, and Caitlin Clark had to sit on the bench the whole time because she hurt her groin muscle. But here's the crazy part. Sabrina Ionescu and Breanna Stewart wouldn't stop talking about how amazing Clark is when they talked to reporters after the game. Then some picture was taken. This whole thing is getting really confusing and dramatic, you guys.
Baited the title to this one. Anyhow, there was a photo circulating, went viral, of Caitlin Clark in the bowels of the Barclays Center with Liberty coach Sandy Brondello and Breanna Stewart and Sabrina Ionescu. I'm just having a little fun.
Do you think Sabrina Ionescu and Breanna Stewart are trying to get Caitlin Clark to come play for their team, the Liberty? They keep saying really nice things about her in public, and it's getting pretty obvious. Let me tell you what happened, because this is getting really crazy. The New York Liberty beat the Indiana Fever 98-77 on Wednesday night. Caitlin Clark couldn't play because she hurt her groin muscle. But guess what? Instead of just talking about winning their game, both Sabrina Ionescu and Breanna Stewart spent their whole time after the game talking about Clark like she was already their teammate or something. Breanna Stewart played amazing. She got 24 points, 11 rebounds, and 7 assists. Sabrina Ionescu also did great with 15 points and 9 assists. These two just totally crushed the Fever team, but then they sit there and act like Clark is the most important thing that happened that night. It's actually pretty bold when you think about it. Stewart's words were really telling. When reporters asked her about the game, she kept changing the topic back to Clark and how much she thinks Clark is a great player. This woman just had an incredible game against Clark's team, and she's sitting there complimenting Clark like they're best friends. That's not just being nice to other players. That sounds like she's trying to get Clark to join her team. But Ionescu, she was even more obvious about it. Before this, when she talked about playing against Clark, Ionescu said, "On a personal level, I'm really happy to see her back out on the court, healthy, feeling good, because obviously it's important for them. But just for her, I'm happy she's back." That's not how you talk about someone on the other team. That's how you talk about someone you want to play with. Here's where it gets really interesting. After the game was over, Clark was seen talking nicely with Liberty head coach Sandy Brondello and star player Breanna Stewart. Sabrina Ionescu was also standing nearby, and there was someone who looked like her agent, Aaron Kane, there too. Let me say that again. Clark's agent was there.
And the agent, that is what makes this so interesting. That is the key. All right, everybody's concentrating on, yeah, by the way, Caitlin Clark looks unbelievably happy talking to these folks. But this is how it starts in sports. This is how it starts in the NFL. This is how it starts in the NBA. When you start seeing the wheels in motion, there's signs. There's signs before eventually a player gets traded, a player eventually.
When sports agents talk to players from other teams after games, it's not just being nice and making friends. The timing of all these compliments is really weird and suspicious. Think about this. Clark just got hurt again, the Fever team lost really badly, and all of a sudden the Liberty players are saying tons of nice things about her. One fan said, "This is more nice words than Stephanie White has ever said about Caitlin. Steph always tries hard not to say good things about CC. That's really bad and tells us a lot." Let's talk about the actual game for a minute. The Liberty beat the Fever easily, winning by as many as 27 points before ending with a 98-77 win. Indiana was only ahead once, right after they scored the first basket, but after that it was all New York winning. This game wasn't even close or exciting, but Stewart and Ionescu are acting like they just saw something amazing from the other team's bench. It's really different when you look at how the Liberty players talk about Clark compared to how her own team treats her.
But during the game, Caitlin got honored as the WNBA Player of the Year in the ESPYs. Just what does it mean to have her impact so far? I mean, there are a lot of really good players in this league, and she got honored as the best player in the league by the ESPYs.
Yeah, I mean, obviously she continues to get new awards. She continues to break barriers. She continues to do things that we haven't seen before. I mean, you know, obviously you think about the Stewies, MVPs of the league, and you know, championship winners, and Asia's MVPs of the league and championship winners, and of course Sue Bird, who was sitting, you know, in the building today. And you know, Caitlyn is so fortunate, as well as all these guys, really. I mean, that they don't know anything any different than the WNBA. Right, like they've seen their idols play. They work their asses off to get to where they are, and to be able to be honored, whether it's the ESPYs or whether it's league awards or whether it's All-Star or whatever. I just think they continue to then lead the way for the other young players that are watching. So we're proud of Caitlyn. You know, ESPY's a big thing, and you know, we're going to continue to support her.
Clark couldn't play in 10 games this summer because she kept getting hurt. And when people asked her coach Stephanie White about it, she didn't seem very worried or excited about it.
What is your description of kind of the physical battle that Caitlyn particularly faces, maybe within tonight's game or just in general as you've gotten used to coaching her, just what you see she's enduring physically?
Are you trying to get me fined again?
I am not.
Yeah, I mean, there's a level of physicality that they're able to play with against her. You know, I knew it as an opponent, and I see it as her coach. And you know, I'm not exactly sure why, but it just is what it is.
Meanwhile, the Liberty players are telling everyone how awesome she is whenever they can. What's really interesting is how this picture became super popular on the internet, and what fans said about it. Fans right away started guessing about big team changes that might happen, with some people saying maybe she likes hanging out with people who think she's great. When your own fans are wondering if you're happier with the other team, that's not good. The Liberty's way of handling this whole thing has been really smart. They're not just winning against the Fever when they play, they're showing Clark step by step what a team that knows what it's doing looks like. Stewart talked about how the fans' excitement from practice time to the end of the game was amazing. That's the kind of place and cheering Clark should have, but isn't getting in Indiana.
And Sabrina, for you, you all have now won 3 in a row, and it just seems like a switch flipped after that Sunday loss against the Storm. I'm just curious, what is it about Sandy's leadership that has helped you all sort of get through the muck of this stretch without JJ, but then also to be able to finish the first half of the season strong?
Well, I mean, there was just this understanding of we got to just find a way and stay together, and we have all we need in the locker room. And, you know, obviously I think we were losing some of those games ourselves. Like, we were just not coming out with the right energy. We were not playing Liberty basketball, and there was kind of just this realization of if we just kind of settle into doing that, we're in a really good spot. And so obviously Sandy continued to keep us together.
Let's talk about the big problem everyone can see. The All-Star Game thing. Sandy Brondello will coach Clark's team in the All-Star Game, and Sabrina Ionescu is on her team. But that doesn't tell us why Clark's agent had to be in this talk. Agents don't spend time on All-Star Game stuff. They talk about business deals. The way Liberty players keep saying nice things about Clark has happened all season long. Even when Clark was healthy and playing great against them, Ionescu has always said good things about her in public. This isn't just being nice after games. This is smart relationship building. What makes this whole thing even worse for the Fever is when it happened. Clark couldn't play in Wednesday's game because she hurt her right groin muscle in the last minute of Tuesday's 85-77 win against the Connecticut Sun. She was really upset about getting hurt, and instead of getting help from her own team, she's getting more love from the team that just crushed them. The Liberty beating them so badly wasn't just about the final score. Breanna Stewart was amazing with 24 points, 11 rebounds, 7 assists, and 4 blocks. This is what championship-level basketball looks like, and Clark had to watch it from the bench. The fan reactions to this whole thing are showing everything wrong with how the Fever is run right now. WNBA Twitter went crazy with comments like, "Told y'all she's looking at the Liberty after seeing the photo." When your best player is being recruited by another team's fans, that means your organization messed up. Here's what's really bugging me about this whole situation. The Liberty players' comments seem too planned to be real. When you beat someone's team by 21 points and then spend your press meeting talking about how great their hurt star player is, that's not good sportsmanship. That's mind games.
The second-year players clearing out that side of the floor, shooting on Stewie, and then watch the reaction.
The difference between how the Liberty team treats Clark and how the Fever team treats her is huge. Stewart talked about wanting to do well and stay focused, and she said the fans were amazing. That's the kind of good team and fan support that Clark should have, but she's not getting it in Indiana. What's really annoying is how Stewart and Ionescu are acting like they support Clark while they're beating up her team at the same time. Ionescu said before, "I think we let Clark score too easily on us. She can shoot from really far away. I'm happy to see her playing and feeling good." That's like saying something nice but also something mean at the same time. The Liberty team is doing exactly what teams do when they want to get a player to join them. They're not just winning against the Fever. They're showing Clark what it looks like to win games. New York has now won 3 games in a row, while the Fever keep having problems with hurt players and playing badly sometimes. What teams do matters more than what they say, and the Liberty's actions are basically yelling, "Come play for us instead." Let's talk about when Clark gets hurt and how it happens around the same time as these Liberty meetings. Clark has hurt her left leg muscle twice and also hurt her groin muscle, and she hasn't played more than 5 games in a row this whole season. But the Liberty players stay healthy and play really well all the time. The most important part of this whole thing is how happy Clark looked in that picture after the game. Clark was smiling and talking with Liberty coach Sandy Brondello and Stewart, and they seemed to be having a fun conversation. When was the last time we saw Clark looking that relaxed and happy with her own coaches? The Liberty team's plan for this situation is getting more obvious every day. They're not just trying to beat the Fever in games. They're trying to win Clark over for the future. The picture of Clark and her agent talking nicely with Liberty bosses is getting people's attention for all the good reasons. What's really bad about this situation is how it shows the Fever team's big problems. The Fever lost and now have 4 wins and 6 losses in games without Clark after Wednesday night's loss, with Kelsey Mitchell being Indiana's best player with only 16 points. They need Clark to win, but they can't keep her from getting hurt or make a winning team around her. The Liberty's nice words about Clark aren't just about basketball. They're showing her what a good organization looks like. Stewart talked about the team's ability to focus and do well, and she said it's because of how the organization works. That's the kind of good team environment that Clark hasn't had in Indiana. Here's what makes this situation really bad for the Fever. The Liberty aren't just trying to get Clark with words. They're showing her what championship-level basketball looks like by beating her team 98-77. That's a better way to recruit someone than any press conference talk. The fan reactions to this situation are telling the real story. Comments like, "Maybe she likes being around people who appreciate her," are showing the difference between how Clark is treated by her own team versus how the Liberty treat her. What's really getting to me is how planned this whole thing feels. Stewart and Ionescu aren't just being nice. They're carefully making themselves look like Clark supporters while pointing out everything wrong with the Fever organization. That's really smart game playing. The Liberty's big win in this game wasn't just about the final score. They were winning 53-38 at halftime and made it 71-48 by the third quarter, with Stewart making a 3-point play to finish the game. This was a complete destruction of everything the Fever represent. The timing of Clark's agent being there for these conversations is really important. Aaron Kane was there for the after-game conversation with Liberty bosses. Agents don't waste time on conversations that don't matter, especially when their client is dealing with getting hurt a lot and team problems. The most worrying part of this whole situation is how it shows the Fever's failure to protect their star player. Clark has missed 10 regular season games this summer and hasn't played more than 5 games in a row this season. But the Liberty players stay healthy and play great all the time. The Liberty's way of handling this situation is amazing psychological warfare. They're not just beating the Fever, they're showing Clark what a winning culture looks like. Coach Sandy Brondello talked about keeping the team together during hard times, which is exactly what the Fever have failed to do. What's really bothering me about this whole situation is how obvious the Liberty's plans are. They're not just saying nice things about Clark. They're carefully destroying the Fever's reputation while making themselves look like the answer to all her problems. The fan guessing about Clark maybe joining the Liberty isn't just hopeful thinking. It's based on things we can actually see happening. The photo of Clark and her agent meeting with Liberty bosses made WNBA Twitter go crazy. When your star player is being recruited by another team, that's a big crisis for your organization. Here's where this gets even more interesting from looking at history. The Liberty have been building something special for years, and their championship culture is exactly what Clark needs right now in her career. They've got established stars in Stewart and Ionescu who understand the pressure of being the face of the league. Compare that to the Fever's way of throwing Clark into difficult situations without proper help. The business side of this situation is really interesting too. The Liberty just finished the first half of their 2025 regular season with a record of 15 wins and 6 losses going into the All-Star weekend. They're not just winning games, they're building a team that can win championships for a long time. That's the kind of organization that agents want their clients to be part of. The mental part of this recruitment is brilliant. Instead of openly breaking rules or making obvious moves, the Liberty are using public praise and real respect to show Clark what she's missing. It's like they're saying, "Look how we treat great players," without actually saying it. The differences keep getting bigger. While Clark is dealing with her 3rd injury of the season and watching her team get blown out, the Liberty Stars are playing at their best levels and then publicly supporting her. That's not just good publicity. That's smart positioning for the future. What's most telling about this entire situation is how it shows the Fever's complete mismanagement of their most valuable player. They've got a once-in-a-generation talent who's always hurt, frustrated, and now being actively courted by a championship organization. That's organizational malpractice at its finest. The timing of all this praise and recruitment couldn't be worse for the Fever. They're going into the All-Star break with their star player hurt, and their team completely dependent on her to win. Meanwhile, the Liberty are showing exactly what a well-run organization looks like, complete with star players who publicly support their opponents. The Liberty just showed Clark what championship culture looks like while her own team falls apart. Stewart and Ionescu's praise isn't just good sportsmanship, it's recruitment. With Clark's agent in those conversations, this situation is getting real. The Fever better wake up before their franchise player walks away. Like and subscribe for more WNBA drama.